Right, let's have another crack at this, shall we? We've unfortunately witnessed a washout in the first test, but we're all set for Lords. India versus England, the second test. Let's preview it on ESPNcricinfo Match Day with VVS Laxman and Ian Bell. First and foremost, let's figure out what conditions we can expect at Lords. Trent Bridge represented what we know of the English summer, but hopefully Lords will give us 5 days of cricket. Belly, what can we expect as I bring out the numbers for you? In the last 9 tests, we've seen an average first inning score of just under 300. And we're looking at pace versus spin as well, where you see spin having perhaps more of an impact than you would at other grounds. Thoughts? What are we expecting at Lords?
Yeah, well, hopefully good weather. I mean, hopefully the rain isn't going to get in the way. But as you said, actually, in recent time, it hasn't been as easy place to bat. The scores have definitely come down, I think, considerably, not just test match cricket, but domestically as well, for some reason. Been a lot more in the bowler's favour. And as you said there, the spin stats, that's quite interesting. But yeah, I expect there to be a result here again. I don't see a draw. The one thing, again, typical English ground, that all about the overheads as well. If the sun's out, generally better to bat. But if it's overcast and cloudy, then you'd expect good swing movement. But yeah, I expect there to be a result.
Yeah, there seems to be good weather, at least clear weather for a result, Lakshman. And that perhaps tempts us into what sort of combination or balance teams would go in. Can Ashwin find a place in that India 11, assuming that Lords is likely to be hot or at least certainly clear of rain for 5 days?
Yeah, I hope that they'll make the right call by taking Ashwin in to the playing level because, as I mentioned before, also Ronak, that is more than capable bowler to perform in any conditions. Leave in or only when the wicket is suiting the spin bowlers or it's dry, and so is the weather, which is not overcast. Because he's a skilled bowler, is someone who's got 400 plus test match wickets, and anyone who's got 400 wickets knows how to adapt to various conditions he's playing on. So I just feel that Ashwin will just add that variety and also strength to that bowling lineup. You've got three quality, experienced fast bowlers. And then you have Ravindra Jadeja, an all-rounder, and then Ravichandran Ashwin, who can also contribute with the bat. We know that he's got 5 test hundreds under his belt. So I think that will just add variety and will give options to Virat Kohli, irrespective of what kind of conditions they're playing the match on.
So that would be a straight swap for Shardul Thakur then, Lakshman, for you?
Yes, for me, with Shardul Thakur. And then the other swap is, if at all Ishant Sharma is 100% fit, then straight away he comes in place of Siraj. But if he's not 100% fit, I think that the way Siraj bowled in Nottingham, I would still back him to play in the 11. And we don't want to risk Ishant Sharma because he's such an important member in this Indian lineup.
Would you, before I go to the next point, Belly, would you, as an England batter, be happier with an Indian side without Ashwin in it, especially at Lords?
It's a good question. I think, he's a world-class bowler, isn't he? So I think, as VVS has just said, 400 test match wickets is world-class. So I think in English conditions, you're probably a better chance of playing more successfully than maybe in India. But I still think they'll be very wary. Certainly if India win the toss, get runs on the board, then he comes into his game there on day 4 and 5. But it's a really good place for India to be, isn't it, as well? I mean, they got 20 wickets at Trent Bridge, which is what you want in a test match. So they're full of confidence in that department. And actually, I remember the Ishant Sharma thing's quite an interesting one because I think when you bowl pavilion end, I remember facing him from the pavilion end in his hard work. Because, again, if a bowler can understand how to use the slope at Lords, they become a handful. And he's got a 5 for there before bowling from the pavilion end. So I think that would come into consideration for selection. The fact that he's done it before and he knows how to use the slope.
All right. What about England's selection call? Moeen Ali seems to have been drafted straight from his purple patch for the Birmingham Phoenix side. Ian Bell, what have you done there? Have you prompted Moeen's release from your franchise to feature in the test match at Lords?
Oh, we tried not to, that's for sure. But no, he's in good form. Certainly, that's one thing. Obviously, he's bold. He's led the team very well. Obviously, test match cricket's very different to the short format. But look, he's full of confidence now. And I think, to be honest with you, it's something that people have been asking for a while. We've played against New Zealand at the start of the year and we didn't play a spinner in both games and won at Edgbaston where it turned. And I know with no Ben Stokes, who rested that series and now obviously not available for this series, there's a lot of talk about balancing the side. And we've talked about this before. If you want to have a spinner all-rounder that balances your team, there's one in Moeen Ali. So I think it's the right call. It's tough on Jack Leach and Don Bess, who are in the squad already. So they're obviously got two spinners, and now they're bringing another one in. And I think probably if you ask a lot of people around England, it's probably, like I said, a month too late for Moeen Ali to get in, but it feels like it's the right call.
Laxman, Moeen Ali has a great record against India. He featured in that second test in Chennai, hasn't played test cricket since. Does he add better balance to the England 11? Would you like to see him in the side?
Yeah, I think definitely, and I think Belly was talking about it in the last Test match. Because when I was telling that England should actually go with Jack Leach, because you want to have that variety as far as bowling is concerned, and they're over depending on Stuart Broad, Jimmy Anderson, and then Robinson, and then Sam Curran only if the conditions suit him can be penetrative. That's why I thought Jack Leach would be a great option, and that's when Belly came up with a point that Moeen Ali was done well against India. Can also bat at number 7, is more than useful batsman. And I think it's the right call by Joe Root and the selection committee, because he will straight away probably come and bat at number 7, which forces Jos Buttler to bat at 6 and probably Sam Curran at 8. And there is so much of depth. And also now it adds, with Moeen Ali there, it also strengthens their experienced batsmen in the lower half, because when you see the England batting lineup, Crowley is inexperienced, Sibley, Burns yet to establish themselves at the highest level, and then you got Lawrence. Whereas Moeen Ali has been around for a long time. He has done well against India in the 2 Test series he played in England. So I think it's a great addition. It will just strengthen this playing 11 a lot more than what we saw in Nottingham.
All right, seems like a unanimous vote for Moeen Ali. And Lakshman points out there's still a concern around that top order. Now, we've seen a very talented young England batter in Zach Crowley when he came about, Belly, and some things just seems to have gone off. We look at his career breaking down before 2021, man averaged nearly 50. And then since in this calendar year, he's averaging just over 11. Now, if you were that England coach, what would you be telling Zach Crowley?
Look, I think there's obviously no doubt ability and talent-wise, it's all there. And again, as we all know, in Test match cricket, it's not just about technique; it's about the mental side of the game as well. And there's obviously a little bit of noise going on, and he's got to try and calm that down when it gets out there. And obviously, as I said, I think watching him recently, again, India have exploited it well, and New Zealand did it as well. That fourth stump area, playing in the channel, knowing what to leave and what to play, has been his biggest challenge. And you feel that. I think England were doing the right thing in terms of probably giving this top order more games than, probably one less and making a change. So I expect them to play the same again. But this will be the last time. I think if Dak doesn't score runs, I think they will look to make a change within that top order. But again, it comes down to knowing your defence. I mean, we watched KL Rahul and the way Rohit Sharma and obviously Joe Root as well in that game. It was all born around good leaving, good defence, and then putting away the loose balls. So you can't play Test cricket, certainly in England, if you don't have that. And that's an area he's just got to really tighten up.
He got a pretty solid 27 and then found his way out in the first innings in that last Test. Lakshman got a 50 in Ahmedabad as well when he was drafted into the side. Does he strike you as someone who England should invest in, give him a long rope, or do you see something technically amiss? I remember Steve Armisen saying at the end of that last game that maybe England should take him out and give him a bit of a break for his own stage. How would you handle him?
No, I think I would repose a lot more faith and give him more opportunities, because England team, I think, especially in the batting lineup, is a team in transition. They've got experience of Joe Root, Johnny Bairstow, then Ben Stokes whenever he comes back, Jos Buttler. But the others are yet to find their feet at the international level. And especially you identify someone who you feel is technically equipped to be successful at the highest level, and who's also got temperament. I feel that Zach Crowley is a quality batsman. He's a youngster on whom I think England should look to invest, and the more opportunities you give, and also the confidence which a coach or a captain or a selection committee gives to a young player makes a massive difference. So I think the communication between the team management and the youngster is very, very critical. And as long as there are a lot of positive affirmations and messages passed on to Zach Crowley, I'm sure that he's someone who can, just perform and prove everyone right that he is a quality player and he deserves to be given that chance playing at number 3 for England.
Right, seems like a big Test match for Zach Crowley. Could be that game that he's under pressure in, but why not? Maybe Lords will be the occasion. for some runs for him. Thank you very much, Ian Bell, VVS Laxman. More from you as this series continues to march on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday. We'll have you covered with our live analysis show on Thursdays. The second test begins at Lord's.